Hello, everyone, and welcome to our community call. I'm one of your co-hosts, Robin Blank Muscari, along with Gregory, and that's Ruby in the background who needs to go out, so I'll take care of that in just a minute. We get together every Monday night as a community to celebrate you, to give updates, to give a little training sometimes. And I am here in Bozeman, Montana, and my partner is in Bangkok, Thailand. Where is he? There he is. Hello.
Swadika.
Swatika?
That's how you say hello in Thai. Swadika. It's so
Swadika.
beautiful here. Everybody, when they see each other, they all clasp their hands and they bow. In Swadika, it's such a sweet country and people.
That's
So
why
back
they
to
call
you.
it the land of smiles. How beautiful. Well, great to have you this evening. So we're going to jump right into our call because we have we've been kind of on a roll lately, and we had several people talk about inviting, and Darlene did a wonderful job on a Thursday call. And then last week we had Harris Williams, presidential director, and Victoria Ochoa, and they talked about inviting. And then we had this amazing event in Sarasota that Harris and Connie Lucas hosted, and we have a lot of new excited people. So we thought a really good next step is to talk about what's next. Once you invite them and they show up and they sign up and they're excited, now what? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And we have the person who is the one we get to give the greatest compliment to. It's all your fault. Our enroller, Kai Jacobson, who is a senior presidential and a longtime friend and a master at this business. And I learned so much from him every time I hear him speak. And on our leadership call last week, people said, we haven't heard from Kai in a while. We want to have Kai back. So Kai is with us and we're so happy to have you. Kai, you want to bring your camera on?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody.
Aloha. Oh, no.
Aloha.
¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás?
We got all these languages. So I'm going to turn things over to you because we talked earlier, Kai, about, when you've got new people. And in this business, we're building two teams. And, if you've got builders on both sides, you've got a growing business, and we don't need a lot of them. We just need some great ones or even good ones, people that are growing. So I'm going to turn things over to you to take it away and talk about what do you do with these new people that are really excited, they want to grow and build.
Well, thank you, Robin. Actually, I think we might have misnamed the talk I want to do tonight. It's not the next step. It's really the next step. So there's a little gap in there because obviously once you've, invited people, there's a whole process that we've gone through this so many times, basically just to shortcut that, you really want to get a three-way call going with your upline person, with one of the people. I like having a list of 4 or 5 of my upline people. And, you want to introduce them to the team. You want to, once they're in, we're talking about people that are already in your group and everything, and then just start, working with them. That's basically it, is helping them starting to introduce new people and get familiar, to get on the calls and do all those things. So that's kind of basic stuff. What I really wanted to talk to today was really the next step. What makes you really successful in this business? And, I've been doing it for over 45 years now, network marketing. And as Gregory says, I love your quote, Gregory, I'm certifiably unemployable because I just love this industry. It's about helping people. It's about working with products that you believe in and creating a sense of community. But what makes you successful in this business? The bottom line is the people that really win are still here. So it's a long game. It's not a get rich quick thing. It's not something that'll happen fast. It does take time. It really does take time, especially in a long-term company. There's a lot of kind of companies out there that are kind of flash in the pan kind of thing, where it might be very exciting. It has a very gamey thing to it, and People make money really quickly sometimes, and most of those kind of close their doors. They're not long-term companies. They're not like a really solid company with great customer service, in 70 countries with 15 distribution centers and real products that are life-changing products for people. When you get into a company like LifeWave, which I call a legacy company, it takes time because you really have real products that are really, take a while for people to enjoy and experience. And they're coming in because of the benefit of the products changing their lives. So what I want to talk today about is how you can become really successful and what are the pitfalls of where many people fall into some pitfalls which don't really work, and things that you can do, actions that you can really do that start creating. I like it's a little bit of a cliche, but it's like the difference between treating this like a business or treating it like a hobby. So, if you treat it like a hobby, one of the cliches in our industry is to say that it'll cost you like a hobby. And when I'm saying treating it like a hobby means that you don't take the time to really learn some of the business structure concepts that will really transform this into a business. And so I'm going to share some things I've learned. These are things that I've learned from my mentors, people that really helped me become very successful in network marketing. And one of the trainers that I really like is Kim Clavers. And Kim Clavers, some of you might have seen some of her talks and things. She has a website and she does trainings and written books, and she's a speaker at many MLM things. She asked this question that I thought was brilliant. It was this really great question because questions are really important things to follow where they take you. And the question she asked was, she wanted to know, she got this idea of what makes people successful in the broader sense of our industry, network marketing. And so she wanted to eliminate, is it about the product? Is it that you have a unique product that no one else has that's better? Or is your pay plan so much better? Is the company that much better and how it supports you and things like that? So she wanted to kind of take that all off the table and make a level playing field. And so what she did was she asked 100 top-notch network marketers. It was, I think it was about 100 of them. And to be in that A group of network marketers, that club, they had to be making $100,000 per month. They had to be earning $100,000 a month. It didn't matter what company, what product, what pay plan, or whatever it was. She had enough contacts because she's been very much of a trainer in the industry. She knew a lot of companies and a lot of leaders. So she asked 100 leaders this question: is it true that your check, which is over $100,000 a month in earning, is it true that you can say that that's largely because of one or two people in your network, somewhere down in your network? Is it true that let's say two, I think it was two that she had, that because of two people, you didn't even have to be the one necessarily who sponsored them, but somewhere in your network, that there were two people that were superstars, like Gregory and Robin, let's say, is a good example, and that they appeared. Is that true that 95% of what you earn is because of these two people that came into your business? And actually 95 of the 100 said yes, 5 said no. So 95 out of $100,000 earners said it's not because of the thousands of people in my group, it's because of two people that somehow brought and welcomed through their leaders and stuff like that into your group. So when I really understood that many years ago, it really stuck in my head, because I realized I had already signed up 150 people personally in LifeWave. And I realized it's not about signing up new people all the time. The second step, the next step. So the first step is you have to invite people. You have to get the ball rolling. You have to get the snowball rolling. But what the next step, the really next step, is identifying leaders somewhere in the LifeWave, because it's a binary. You only need one on either side. That's all you really need, one really good leader, who usually brings in a number of good leaders themselves, who then in turn bring in some good leaders. So the step is you want to keep, it shifts. What happens is in the beginning, you're recruiting, you're inviting, you're recruiting. But after you do that, that's 100% of your energy. But then as time goes by, and a really good leader starts to appear. Somebody appears that's, as Gregory says, I'm quoting Gregory a lot tonight, work with the willing. So, you get people that start getting excited. Someone will start to emerge, or a few, you might even work with a couple. And instead of putting all your time in trying to bring new people in, which you want to always keep doing, there always has to be some aspect of that happening in your business. So, even myself, I've been doing this for many years. I'm always bringing in some new people. That's an important thing to do. But in the beginning, that's all I did. That was 100% of my thing. Matter of fact, when I first started, I sat with my cell phone, back in the day, and I just was texting everybody, hey, got to check out this video. And then the cream rose, and I started having conversations. I do believe it takes having conversations and talking to people. And in the first 60 days, I brought in 30 people. And out of that, a few of my first batch of good leaders, a few emerged out of the group that grew from that. So, in the beginning, that's all of what you're doing, is inviting people to take a look, signing them up, getting them educated, getting them used to what's going on, creating a team, and then start identifying where there's some good, strong, willing people that are very keen to do this. But once you got that, that's where you're going to put 70% of your energy. You really want to put 70% of your energy into making that your new best friend, or a couple friends. As I said, it could be a couple people you're working with, and you want to keep working with them. Your whole goal is to work with these leaders that have emerged, the willing and the capable. They might not have never done network marketing, but they are naturally have what it takes to do it, and they're inspired. They have an incredible product story. Usually they're inspired, they're connected to people, and what happens is that by really focusing until they get their team together, once you might work with them for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, maybe even a year. I had one of my mentors tell me he would spend a year getting that person up to a 3/4 level in the pay plan, kind of where it was that this was another company. And then he would go to search for another one and develop them. So, it's the long game. And by making that person really successful, now they're making a full-time living at this and they're doing really well, then you really help another person. And in our company, one on either side can bring you a very, very significant check with LifeWay. So I just really wanted to share that next step, because if you keep doing the same thing, the first pattern, you won't get what I'm talking about. And when you really start doing that second step, the next step of identifying leaders somewhere, keep working, drilling down into your group and seeing who's emerging, who's building, who's inspired. Like this thing that happened in Florida, just David's last talk, I think has fired up a lot of people. You just want to be all in with those people and working with them and doing whatever it takes to help them become successful. And that's the key. The more leaders that you really help fully become successful, the bigger your business goes. So our business really is based on helping other people. Now, one of the pitfalls that I was talking about is there's a lot of whiner and complainers and kind of people that are, difficult to work with. There are quite a few of them. They can take a lot of your time. They can take an awful lot of your time. And one of the things I've heard from so many people that have been successful is that if I could do it all over again, I would spend more of my time with the people I really enjoyed working with and who really expand the business than all the time I do with whiner and complainers and people that are just they're not that enjoyable to work with, and they're complaining and there's always problems. What I learned is, and I learned from another very, very good teacher of mine, was you have to learn to be very pleasant with everybody and work with them, but you want to not be the source. Like they want you to fix everything. They have a lot of problems and they want you to fix it and do it all for them. And what's more important is to connect with them, but then lead them to the customer service. LifeWave has great customer service. Our customer service program is so good. And so if somebody has trouble ordering or this didn't happen, it's not your job to fix it. What your job is to help facilitate them to connect and feel comfortable with customer service. And so you want to start delegating those things to places where these people can be served. Or if they want you to explain the whole pay plan, but they've never even watched a video on it yet, you want to make sure that the people invest some of their time in all these aspects before you really invest all your time hand-holding every single person all the way through every single process. So learn to be not the source of answers, but how to direct people to where they can find the answers, and take the time to, lead them right to that spot, and make sure they have the phone number, maybe even do a three-way with customer service to introduce them so they feel more comfortable. But what one of the biggest things I've heard is that many leaders said, if I could do it all over again, I spent 50% of my time with the wrong people doing the wrong things. I thought I was being active and useful, but I wasn't. I was treating it like a hobby instead of really a business, and building it as a serious and sincere business. And so my suggestion is learn how to really do that really well and gracefully with heart, and be present with people, but put your time and your juice into people that are really moving forward, and really help them become those leaders. And that will build a very powerful business for you. So Robin, I'm open to questions or whatever, but that's what I wanted to share today.
Well, I hope you look in the chat, Kai, because you hit the nail on the head. There's such, you guys, this is why I call Kai Yoda. There's such great wisdom, and that first part about treat it like a business. And if you treat it like a business, it'll make you money. Treat it like a hobby, it'll cost you money. And that's so true. And that it's really, really important for people to get, you don't need a lot of people. Oh, I don't have a network, the whiners and complainers. If you get, and they could be anywhere in your organization. If you have leaders growing, this is why we're going to do a call in the near future on taprooting, because they may not be personally sponsored in order to have a growing business. So, and so many other things that you said. I love this. Work with the willing. And 70% of your energy is spent with those few people, and really become best friends with them. And and I'm going to acknowledge Carolee and Jennifer in just a minute. Last week on 30 Minutes of Wisdom, we talked about how do you get to know these people? And we'll talk about that. And for sure, Louise said Yoda for sure. Sarah said, brilliant, Kai. Kai is the calmest leader I know. That's from Coach Clarissa. This is so fun. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. Wonderfully practical business advice. And that's what Kai is masterful at, keeping it really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. So when you find those people, like the people coming out of the Sarasota event, and what Connie is brilliantly doing as a leader, she's organizing her groups that came to the event in their different areas to keep the momentum going, to work with those new leaders to help them build and help them build and help them build. So how beautiful. Now, Heidi is brand new today, and welcome, Heidi. She just signed up today. She says, can you, Kai, elaborate on the graceful element to utilizing 30% of your energy for those energetically engaged?
Well, if they're energetically engaged, they fit in the 70% category. If they're really keen and leaning forward into building LifeWave as a business and making a home and a family, because really is, a family, you're really joining a family here, then they've got all my energy. It's a lot of the whiners and the complainers and the people that just aren't really that into it, or and that's not my job to convince them. It's really not. It's allowing the cream and the positive energy to rise, and to learn how to deflect in a very gracious way. I'm not saying that you don't have any time for them, but don't be the fixer of everything for everybody. Learn to delegate, to say, hey, that's a great question. Let's call customer service together and see if we can get the answer. And next time you have a question, I think that they're going to be a very good resource for you to get this directly, because a lot of times I don't know some of those unique little twist and turn answers that happen. There's always some subtle little new twist that comes up. And if you're not the source of that, then you freeze up your time to really help fan the flame of the people that are really making a fun business with this.
Beautiful.
And yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kai, for your constant wisdom and sharing with our community. It's such a gift. And I know there's more questions, and I'm sorry we don't have time to go through all the questions tonight, but you can reach out to me or your sponsor and we can take care of those questions, because, the other thing you said is, work with the willing. And I say, put a list together of qualities and characteristics of the kind of people you want to work with, so that when caller ID shows up and it's like, Heidi's name is there, I'm excited to pick up the phone. And so that's what we're looking for, because we get to cherry pick our business partners in this business. Isn't that wonderful? So thank
really
you,
is.
Kai, for sharing with us. That was great wisdom as always. Much appreciated. And we'll get back to the other things we want to cover, but we wanted to, build on this momentum that we've been creating about, okay, what's first? How do you choose them, invite them, get them there, sign them up? What's next and next? I love it.
And
Greg,
I just want to say thank you, Kai, for such, you're just such a groundswell of ground, you're a fount of grounded wisdom, and Kai and I and Lynette and Sid Zachary and William Malik have had such a great time here together in Thailand. And we're going to have a great time in Mexico in a couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to hanging out again. We're going to be there for the awards incentive trip. And then we're going to be hanging over in Playa del Carmen and doing some meetings and just greetings and working with our Mexico team. So how fun this business is together. So thank you, Kai. Miss you guys already.
all right.
So I think the next thing on the agenda, if I just jump ahead and share my screen again, I was going to talk briefly, and you could stay on, Kai, because if you want to say anything about this, but I'm going to talk just briefly about the grand opening. And it was a huge success. And many people stayed up late or woke up early to watch it. It truly was a historic event for the launching of a country that we had an opportunity to help lay some of the groundwork for it. And I'm so excited. They produced a really nice summary video, a little 3-minute teaser, but now the whole thing is available, and Robin's got the link in there and you can watch it. And David did a fabulous job. And I want to kind of give everybody a heads up. Here in the Thai market, we're not positioning it as this, X39, the stem cell activation patch. We're really not supposed to relate it to stem cell. We very tactfully were kind of rebranding it as the X39 Wellness and Anti-Aging Patch. And it helps to activate copper peptide. And one of the wonderful things of copper peptide is it activates stem cells. So we can get to stem cells, but it's one step removed by talking about copper peptide activation. And if you watch that video, a 1-hour training from David, you'll see he didn't mention, stem cell activation at all until he got to copper peptide. And I think he mentioned that as one of the benefits. But as we all know, probably stem cell activation is the most exciting benefit of copper peptide, but it does so many other wonderful things. That's what really makes X39 so wonderful. I like to say that probably stem cell activation is the sexiest thing it does. And we all know sex sells. So that's, it's a high point of its effectiveness. But it's like it activates glutathione, and it increases glutathione 40%. But the glutathione patch increases it 400%. It's like, or 200%, I forget, but a lot more. But, and it's a great anti-inflammatory, but Eon's probably a better anti-inflammatory. It helps people sleep, but Silent Night probably works a little better. But none of the other patches do all of those things, and X39 does. So it was such an honor and blessing. And I got to tell you, the Thai people are so warm-hearted. Everywhere you go, as I said earlier, people always bow and say "Swadika," which is their way of saying hello. You just feel so welcomed, safe. And Kai, I don't know if you want to share your initial experience, because you've been to Thailand before. This is my first trip to Thailand, and it certainly won't be my last.
Well, I'm going to tell a fun little anecdotal story. I've been to Thailand 3 times, And
Uh-huh.
the thing that most impressed me was the first time I went. And I was a young man. I think I was like 20, 24, 25. And there was a Michelin tire, big billboard there in Bangkok. It was a big, with the Michelin, where he's got his muscles, but his arms are made out of tires, showing how strong they are. But in Thailand, they had the Michelin tire man doing this. He was in a prayer space with this, but the tires were on his arms. And so what I love about Thailand is that they're so accepting of bringing in other cultures. Like they brought in the Michelin tire, but they Thaiized it. They made it like, they made it like Thailand, in that it was respectful and prayerful. And so doing our business there is, we have to know we're guests bringing this incredible new technology, which they're very hungry for. They want the cutting edge science of the West, but you have to bring it in their way of understanding, and which is so beautiful because they're so present with people and they're so gentle and kind. It's an amazing country full of amazing people, and I hope everybody starts having a couple people pop up in their groups there, and they can start to learn more about it. It's one of my favorite ways to travel, is to, once you have something starting to grow, like we're going to Mexico, as Gregory said, it allows us to create a really fun lifestyle. That and another fun quote in network marketing is, life is so much more fun when it's all tax deductible. So when you go on these trips, you can write it all off as a business expense, and you make really deep friendships, because you're not just a tourist, you're actually working and creating important things in their lives, like a livelihood, and bringing something new to their country. And it creates deep bonds that become lasting for life. It's very beautiful and powerful.
Beautiful. Well, I was trying to find it. I couldn't find it, but you mentioned the Michelin tire, and I know in the mall there was a Ronald McDonald, and he's positioned like this, a life-size Ronald McDonald, and he's positioned like this, bowing. It's like, it's the culture here. So everybody, if you can watch the video, I think you'll enjoy it. David's always good. It's another opportunity here. Another training from David. So with that, I'm just going to pass it back to you, Robin. That's what I had to share today. Oh, I'll share one more thing. I'm homesick for home, and I'm leaving today. I'm actually flying home, and it's really exciting because I fly home through Tokyo. I leave Tokyo on Wednesday night, and I get into Seattle on Wednesday morning. So I'm going to get there before I leave. So I'm time traveling. So figure that out. So I'll see you soon from Montana. Back to you, Robin.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you guys for being, it takes a lot to launch anything. You're starting from scratch, and they develop these wonderful relationships with the team and the staff at the office, and also with new distributors. And several of you had people that they got to work with, which is really exciting. I know that, Ron Rabin, I think, is the superstar with his Thai team so far. That's just the beginning, though. But he is going for it, and it's really fun to get to launch something, and it takes a lot of energy, and we're going to see the fruits of those labors come over the years, and it's so wonderful that you guys got to be there. And I do want to mention that Dr. Sarah Glenn said, "And Gregory, you spoke so heartfully." And you could tell he was infused with the culture, and he did a beautiful job of honoring it. So I invite everyone to click this right here and watch the replay, because David was fabulous, and Gregory had this great spot right after David. He got to speak for 10 minutes, and I think he'll make you proud like he made me proud, like he always does. But it was beautiful. It was, heart-centered for sure. It was gracious. There's some great content in there, and it was historic. So there we have it. Okay. And see that Gregory.
The next person after me was Dr. Oat, who's the president of the Thai Chiropractic Association. And he was also a featured speaker there at the end. And he's so excited. He has 2 clinics, and he's so excited about adding LifeWave to all the diversified modalities that he and his doctors and clinics do. So the products are being well received here.
Great.
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, let's move on and see Gregory waving there. He said, "Hi, Robin." That was so fun. And I said, hi, honey.
That was cute.
That was very cute. It was very cute. Okay, let's move forward because we got a bunch more stuff to cover.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, tomorrow night we have a treat for everybody. Tuesday night, we have our introduction to LifeWave and the technology, and to David Schmidt, and our a brand new addition to our Tuesday night call is Ann Morrow. And Ann is a nurse and a nutritionist and a very, very wise woman. And I just love learning from her. She's masterful at building teams also. She's able to be a practitioner and a team builder and does it exquisitely. So we love having her on the team, and I'm so glad she accepted the invitation to be part of our rotation for our Tuesday night calls. So load up the calls tomorrow night, okay? For Ann. And there is a LifeWave Connect this week. Go to the back office under events and register. Although it just says 11 a.m., it's also at 6 p.m. Pacific. Okay, and you'll see the links on the LifeWave Business Builders. And they started these new webinars for new managers and new directors, and they'll be having them regularly. So we'll just keep you posted. And we just want to put a big post in because it just started last week. And if you have people in Europe, April 13th is when they're doing the European languages. Okay, scrolling. Okay, every Thursday morning, we have one of our leaders share some business wisdom, and then we open it up for Q&A. So that's a great time to be with the community and learn about business. And we'll have some wonderful treasures for you on Thursday. And oh my gosh, last Friday, for those of you that were there at 10 o'clock at night, I found out that our guest for 30 Minutes of Wisdom was in the emergency room and she wasn't able to make it. And I'm sitting there having a bite to eat with Carol Lee after we did our stem cell meetup and wondering, what are we going to do? And Carol Lee had this brilliant idea of Jennifer, who is a master coach and trains coaches. And then we kind of explored it from there. And the three of us were on talking about how do you get to know these people, which fits exactly with what Kai was talking about, is really getting to know your people. Kai said, have them become your new best friend. Get to know your teammates. And they gave some wonderful questions. Carolee has this beautiful tool. She has a whole list of things that she sends out to her new people. And you can do that on the phone, or you could send it to them, however you'd like to do it. And so thank you, Carolee and Jennifer, for stepping up at the very last minute to provide something of wonderful value. People loved it. They absolutely loved it. So thank you. Okay. And the replay is there for you to listen if you missed it. Our training website, it just gets better all the time. And we really do appreciate your input if you have ideas on what we can do better. So when you're brand new, guess where you click? Get started. And we've had some.
Robin, I want to share that it's in the beta nearly ready to launch phase, but everybody can check it out. If you go to thailand.liveyoungersuccess.com, you're going to see a professionally translated version of Live Younger Success in Thai. Now, we haven't translated all the documents in the library. That's a monumental task, and we're going to be sorting through and prioritizing and begin to translate them. But the entire contents of the website, except for the menu bar, which will be done soon, is translated into Thai, professionally translated. So thank you, William Malik, for pulling that together with one of your key contacts over here. And so we want to support our evolving Thai group, with Live Younger Success also.
Beautiful. Thank you, Gregory. Yeah, I am in love with this website, and it's so easy to use. I've been enrolling a bunch of people lately. It's been very fun, and I go right under the website and get the welcome letter and send it off, and I just love it. It's clean, it's easy, well organized, amazing. And Jocelyn said amazing. Love it. Okay. You want to scroll some more, honey? Next. Okay. Oh, it's time for the big spin. Okay, so those of you that have been around know about this. Those of you that are new know, I just want to share that, you know, stories are the lifeblood of our business. Your story changes other people's lives. So we want to continue to, you know, acknowledge what we want more of and reward it by doing a big spin every week for those of you that put your stories up on our Vibrant Living Facebook page. And then we do a spin, and whoever wins gets to, let's see, get a book, a network marketing book. And I have two that I'm sharing right now. So it's time for the big spin. I got to turn my volume back on because I guess you like to hear it. Let's see here. Okay, ready? The spin. And the winner is, dun dun dun, Tammy. All right, Tammy's been sharing a lot and she deserves to win. So thank you so much, Tammy. And I think I have your address, but we'll get a book off to you and I'll be in touch and find out which one you don't have so I can get you a new one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Facebook Lives, they're happening, and I want to thank all of our leaders that are contributing. We had some great ones recently. The early bird special for the convention in August ends on the 31st. That's Thursday, you guys. It's coming up, and they extended it, so that's early bird pricing, and leaders are born at events. And you will find that all the leaders show up at the events. People will be there from all over the world. Okay. We keep this next one up until the company provides us with a video on X39 and 49 together in X49. So that's available for you, those of you that haven't seen a video or David talking about X49. So that's a good link to have. Okay, keep scrolling, honey. All right, we're getting close. Okay, finally, good to know. And this is wonderful that when you have personal volume over 110 PV, once a month, that volume goes into your pay leg. And this is the value, it's your personal purchases and all of your customers, retail and wholesale. And today is when that happened. And I got to see a lot of people get extra cycles because those of you that have a lot of customers get a lot of extra volume and it goes in your pay leg and it helps you cycle more. So remember that when you see blue under commissions, under volumes, yes, and you see a blue link, that means it's a hot link and you can click on it and see exactly where that volume came from. And you'll see that it shows up in the total LV and RV today. Okay, and I think that completes our call for today. Chris is asking, are we closing down Nitty Gritty 101? No, we're not. Judy's in charge of that. And I think she's going to have it be more of a customer focus. It went through a little blip the other day and it wasn't available. And then it came back up because someone was in touch with me and I was in touch with Judy and she spent, thank you, Judy, a lot of time with GoDaddy to get it up and running again. So, you know, giving us feedback like that really, really makes a difference. And let's see, I think that's it for now. And I just want to say one more thing about what Kai said. You know, when people ask you questions, you know, what Kai was talking about is you give them the answer, but then you point to where they find the answer. Our job is to empower people. And that's why it's really, really valuable to get to know the Live Younger Success training website, because most all of those answers are there. And they're a little bit differently organized than they were on Nitty Gritty, but it's very easy to find. And that's going to be your go-to place for answers. And then there's corporate answers and there's all kinds of other things, but, you know, point to where you found it. Okay, everyone. Thank you, Kai. That was wonderful. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you and your wonderful comments in the chat. And we'll see you tomorrow on our introduction to Life Wave, and that's the call to bring guests to, because in a very short period of time, you get to learn about the company, the products, the technology. We focus on X39, and then we have one of our special healthcare practitioners with us, and tomorrow we get Anne, so yay. All right, everybody. Bye. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.